Greetings, it's Dr. Chris Gibbs here from HTL510 Hotel Real Estate Management. I have created this short video to help students with the bonus asset memo that is being reviewed in the first class. I recognize some people may miss the first class, and I want to help them. And I also recognize that many students have not worked with large data sets in the past, so that is a big part of this course. So I wanted to give you a resource to help you if you need. So my goal with this video, a couple of things. First off, the real estate world in hotels works with large data sets. And students need the skills to complete those data sets for their memo assignments in the course. And, this further supports that it will help you for entry-level roles in a job in hotel real estate. I'm going to review 3 different things with you in this video today. First off, with just a little bit of background about where the data comes from. I'm going to introduce the whole idea of asset memos to you, because you will do up to 8 of them in the course. And I will walk you through the first table that you need to create for the bonus asset memo. So first and foremost, all the data for this course comes from a company called CoStar, is the parent company. And for those students in real estate management, CoStar is the leading data provider of real estate information globally. Years ago, they purchased a company called STR, which is Smith Travel Research. And STR tracks data and information for rental home like Airbnb, as well as the hotel industry. So CoStar is really, if you want to go work for Colliers, CBRE, any of the big players in real estate or any developers, they live off of this data. And then consequently, STR, if you're working in the lodging industry, and you're doing anything real estate management or revenue management analysis, or you're a general manager, you live by the STR data. I'll share a bunch of other things that CoStar does. They have a bunch of different brands. You can see CoStar is the parent company for commercial real estate. You'll see STR for hotels, but they have data providing. They sell data for apartments.com, homes.com, and all sorts of other different businesses. So it's basically a digital company that is about selling data and information to help people make decisions. The asset memo orientation, first off, real estate industry is dominated by the use of data to support and make decisions. Every entry-level job you're going to get in real estate requires, whether that's hotel real estate, commercial real estate, any other type of real estate, requires you have an understanding of Excel, Google Sheets, and income statements. So an asset memo, which you'll do a lot of in this course, is a combination of your data analytics skills using Google Sheets or which is a form of Excel, and professional written communication. And memos are submitted in a single page PDF, or not a single page PDF, a single file PDF. They're typically 1 to 2 words of written text with an explanation, answering a question or addressing the client need. And they are 1 to 3 pages of appendices in the back, which is either the creation of a table or a visual that supports things. And you also have to share your Google Sheet in a class-designated Google Drive. You'll be sent an individual Google Drive by me, the professor, that is viewable. I can go back and look at your work. It's awesome because if you're having problems, I can go back and look in and help you while we're online. But it also helps me know that it individually was your work and there is no duplication or no, you're not working with other people. The asset memo format in D2L, I'm going to go to this URL right here for you. You can, it's posted in the course shell. It's posted in lots of different places. But this just gives you backgrounds on how to format the asset memos. So a couple of things. The very first thing is that you're going to do 8 of these. So there's going to be a lot of repetition. Your first one's going to not maybe be correct, but that's okay. The actual memo written part is only 1 to 2 pages. and only two and you only really get to 2 pages if you have a lot to say. There's typically always an appendix, and the appendix will be 1 to 3 pages. We will review the memo. So we typically will review the memo in class during our Wednesday morning class. You'll be given a week to complete it, and you have to complete it by Tuesday at 10 p.m. before the Wednesday class. I will then start that Wednesday class with selecting 1 or 2 of the better memos and sharing them with the class so that you can learn from the examples. This is an exercise in repetition and one where you're going to continuously get better. The memos are meant to be anonymous. In other words, I don't want to see your username or your personal name on them. I want you to create your own persona of who your name is and of maybe who the company is that you work for. I want them to be anonymous from an evaluation perspective. And a memo is kind of like the first page of the memo it's kind of like an email, right? It has a to, a from, a subject. A couple things that it also has is your pseudo name, the name of the case study or situation, and it has the Google link, the URL link to your Google Sheet. It's important that works, that we can go back and check your work, and if it doesn't work, then we can't give you credit for it. The typical memo answers some key questions that are asked in the situation, and the format is very, very specific. And you'll see some details about the format being not, don't do too many bullet points. File submissions always D2L, all kinds of things like that there. The memo appendices is where in the report you communicate the results of your analysis. Some of you may be challenged, but you'll need to learn a very strict format style for tables and financial communication. Details matter in real estate, and everything like simple typos or layout errors can turn you off. There are a lot of guidelines to follow here. You're going to be learning to work within a style template. Now, why we do that is because if you go off and you go work for a real estate company, they will have a reporting style that you have to learn and you have to follow. So you can't just go willy-nilly and do your own lines here, lines there, color here, bar chart there. You have to follow a very simple, very standardized format. That format, I've got some tips and tricks. It's all about, you can do it in Google Sheets or you can recreate them in Word. We've got sample professional table here for you to see. A couple of things about the sample professional table. They are literally APA formatted tables. So if you're good at APA tables, you'll be good at this. A couple highlights. There's always bold in the number for the table. There is a title of the table in italics. There is the heading of the table with the line above and the line below. Nothing's in bold, you'll see. There's your information here, and then there's one single line at the bottom. You'll notice there's no horizontal lines going up and down. This is going to frustrate some of you. Some of you are going to say, I have never had to do this for another course, but this course is about forcing you to be ready to work in a real estate analysis analytic job and follow their rules and their guidelines. Each memo has the exact same rubric. Okay. Out of 10 points is the total. 4 points for your analysis. In other words, your ability to clearly answer the question and get it correct. The support material, essentially your appendices and your tables that support your analysis and your answer. And then the style and format, your ability to follow the instructions that have been provided on the memo sheet. So that's sort of the review of the memos information. The next thing I want to show with you is where do I access my asset memo assignments and where do you go? I'm going to take you through to my TMU. I'm going to log into my Ryerson course shell. I'm going to go HTL510 Hotel Real Estate Management. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to click Content. From Content, I'm going to go to Hotel Asset Memo Assignments. Over the course of the semester, typically just before the class that we review an asset memo, the details of the asset memo will show up here. You're not going to be able to work ahead on these because they need to be talked about and introduced properly in class. So in this case, the bonus asset memo, which is worth 2% of your grade, is here and available. And you would copy and paste this URL link, and it opens up the shell. The first thing you want to do when you open up is you're not going to be able to edit this copy. So you're going to go to File. You're going to make a copy, and you're going to make one. This is the 00 memo, meaning it's bonus and it's the first one. So I'm just going to go 00, and I'm going to go C Gibbs, and I'm just going to call it the bonus memo. So I've just made myself a copy of that, and I will now work from that copy in completing the assignment. A couple of other things that you want to look at here. So let's look at there's 4 tabs here in this document. Okay, the first tab is instructions. The instructions have the date it's introduced. The class will review it. The due date that it's due. This first bonus memo, you've got 2 weeks to do. After that, all of them will have 1. And then anything important about it. In this case, it outlines the situation. And the situation in this case is you're working for a large real estate firm in the hotel sales division. Your job is to do research and support agents who are responsible for selling and buying hotel properties. Your managing director, Janice Price, asks you to help her prepare for a meeting with an investor who is interested in acquiring hotel properties in Toronto. The organization she's meeting with is called Service Trust Properties. They're a United States-based real estate investment trust that owns 221 hotels and 37,000 guest rooms. Their hotel assets are mostly extended stay and select service hotels, and they're looking to diversify in Toronto and want to identify hotel owners who own 6 or more properties in the Toronto market that they should be speaking with. Your director asks you to produce a table that profiles a selection of owners that own 6 or more hotels to help recommend the best fit hotel owner to approach first. Service Trust Properties are particularly interested in growing the portfolio of extended stay hotels. So, there's a couple of different tabs here for you to work with. So those are the instructions. Here's some other tips for you on how the different tabs are. That explains the different tabs. I'll walk you through those in a second. And then the overall purpose of this activity is to get you comfortable working with large data sets. I'm not sure how many of you have experience with this, but this data set has 250 hotels listed in it, has over 50 columns, so has over 10,000 pieces of data in it. And then I typically will have here a series of questions that we want to ask or activities that you need to do. And then below the questions and activities that you need to do, there's tips on how to complete the project. Okay. And these are, when I create these instructions, I do them really detailed for the first 2, 3, 4 memos. And then after that, I stop. But they are literally step by step on how you do the assignment. I think some students in the past have found it very helpful to print these out and follow along as they do it, because for many of you, especially in the first couple of memos, you're going to learn features in Google Sheets that maybe you haven't used before. So there's that, and then I also, with all of them, have a student questions and answer. With all of my assignment templates, if you have a question about a memo, you email me. I will email you back the answer, but I will also post the question without your name and the answer in this space here. Okay, so it's all there and available for you. So in this case, I could not attend the class. How do I do the assignment? And I've got a link to this video for them. Okay, the second tab here is type of hotels. Okay, the owner specifically wants that they're working for the United States. They're interested in extended stay hotel properties. So there's 3 different types of hotel properties. Well, there's more than 3. There's as many types of shoes as you have. You can have types of hotel properties, but in this case, the 3 main ones are full service hotels, which typically have restaurants, convention facilities, meeting rooms, have a whole suite of services. Then there's what we call extended stay hotels. These are typically hotels that you can actually prepare food in, has a small kitchen, a little bit larger of a hotel room so that you can stay for 4 to 7 nights. And then there's limited service hotels. These are typically economy and budget hotels that typically don't have a full service restaurant and don't have a lot of amenities. They're just there to provide a great location and a great price for the services you need. And then there's, you can see you're going to get to learn the STR scale of hotels. Hotels are rated based on their average daily rate from luxury to economy in every market that they're in. And then this type of hotels gives you an example of a type. This table that we created for you has a type of hotel being extended stay or full service. The parent company, meaning the master brand of the brand, the affiliated brand. So in this case, Hilton Worldwide is the parent company. The affiliated brand is Embassy Suites. They're a brand within the Hilton family, and it's an upper upscale chain, and they happen to be an extended stay. So that's what type 2 is, and the data set doesn't actually have this information in it, so you'll have to refer back to this to add it. The third thing here, the third tab, is important STR data. As I said, the STR data set has 50 plus different columns. Everything from the name of the hotel all the way to the latitude and longitude of the hotel to, whether it's got a pool or not. So I've taken the liberty of sort of helping you, understand key columns that you need to understand or that you need to look at. And what you'll see here is, as an example, the STR number. That's in column A. STR number is a unique number given to a hotel, so that it always stays with the hotel, no matter who the owner is, no matter anything. That's a unique identifier. It has the rooms, what the open date is. So if you ever wanted to know when that hotel opened or how old a hotel is, you can look at the open date. There's also a whole bunch of characteristics about the ownership and management characteristics, like who the actual owner of the physical real estate asset is, who the operator is. In other words, who's the company that has the manager on site and leads all the staff that physically run the hotel. And then, the operations, the type of operation, whether it's chain managed, franchised, or independent. And then there's the management company, the company responsible for who's managing. And then there's things like branding. You can have a different name on the hotel, naming the affiliation. It could be Hilton, it could be Marriott, it could be Four Seasons. The parent company of that affiliated company. So typically I think Marriott has over 30 different brands now. So that's affiliations. They have over 30 different brands or affiliations. And then Marriott's the parent company. Who the original affiliation is. Hotels are typically real estate assets that have been around, that have a 40-year plus lifespan. So they may change owners and change names throughout. So whatever the original affiliation is, and then what the past affiliation. In later assignments, you're going to have to understand the competitive nature of hotels. So you're going to have to do a competitive analysis, and you're going to need to know, there's a whole bunch of different columns here that help you understand the types of, helps you understand who your competitors would be in a market. And then here's the raw data. So I'm just going to hit Control to give you an eye, and then down. And that tells me there's 251 rows of data. I'm going to go Control up, and I'm going to go Control to the right, and that goes all the way over to CG. So meaning it's A to Z, which is 26, plus 26 is 52, plus G. There's over 50 different columns of data in this data set. All right. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a background on what the tabs are and what they do. But one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to follow along the instructions. I'm going to have them printed, or they're going to be to my left, and I'm going to work from here. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this data set. So I'm going to click on STR census data. I'm going to click on the button here, and I'm going to hit duplicate. Now I've got a copy. I do that so that when I'm working with a large data set, I don't make mistakes in it that make it permanent and I can't go back. So I always leave my data set untouched, and I always have a working copy that I make for it. Okay. So I need to read the instructions on what to do. So I'm going to go back to my instructions tab. I'm going to go to table 1. It says, I need to identify the owners with 6+ properties. You'll need to use a function called pivot table. So I'm going to create a pivot table with this data and go from there. So follow along what I do here with my copy here. So the very first thing I do in creating a pivot table is I click the data above row 1 and to the left of row A, I click on that little number there. What that does is it selects all the data in the worksheet for me to work from. Okay. Then I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to go to Pivot Table, and I'm going to create a new sheet. So now I've got a whole new sheet. It's got a whole bunch of things here for me. So it works in rows and columns. And the first sort of row that I want to know is I've got 250 different, hotels. I want to know the owner that has 6 or more of them. So I'm going to go scroll down to a row called owner. Or I can type in here. I can go owner company. Oh, perfect. I'm going to take the owner company and I'm going to get rid of these. I'm going to clear all. I don't know why these are showing up. I don't want the suggestions. It's forcing me to do suggestions. Okay, so I'm going to go to owner company and I'm going to put it in rows. So I have a whole bunch of owner companies there to my left. Okay. Now I want to count how many hotels they have. So I'm going to just go owner company. I'm going to go to values, meaning values to add. And it tells me it's going to count. You can do all sorts of functions. You can count and sum and things like that. I'm only going to count those that had a number. And the other variable I want to know is the number of rooms, because I find that interesting. Rooms. And I want to go to values and I want to count the number of rooms. So what this tells me, I'm summing them as default is shown. So this tells me that the Aimco group has 2 hotels with 0 rooms. So they obviously used to own a hotel and maybe it's closed. So not a good example. So now what I want to try to do is identify those that have 6 or more rooms. So I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to set a filter. I'm going to go to data. I'm going to create a filter and I'm going to go clicking on this arrow here. I'm going to clear all of the ones here. So I'm going to pause for a little bit and scroll down and show you that I have hotels with 0 rooms. Or I have, some owners that have 0 hotels, some that have 1 hotel, some that have 2 hotels, some that have 3 hotels. But I was asked, some that have 4, some have 5, some have 8, 9, and 12. Okay. So I'm going to collect 8, 9, and 12 as the number of hotels that they want. Obviously, somebody's got 215. Let's see what that is, though. So what this tells me here is that in the city of Toronto, in our data set, okay, I have the Easton's group of hotels has 12 properties with a total of 2,623 rooms. Okay. So that is very helpful. What I can also do, so that tells me that information. I can try to do further work from here, but I always like to, if I want to format things and do things, you can see the 215 is actually the grand total. I will just select this data here, and I will copy it, and I will create a new tab. And in this new tab, I'm going to rename it. How I rename it is I click here. I'm going to rename this table 1 data. Okay. Now that I've named it table 1 data, I'm just going to paste values only. So what this does now is it gives me my raw data for my number of rooms. I'm not going to keep the grand total here because it's not really that relevant. So now I have a list of, 6 properties that have 6 or more rooms. So these are the most significant owners measured by the number of properties and total number of rooms. Now you have the raw data to make the table, and you are set to go to the next stage. I'm going to present another video for the next stage, but where you're at is, my goal with this video was to introduce you to CoStar, to introduce asset memos, and to introduce table 1, total owner companies with 6+ hotels. So you've created that. The next video, we need to create table 2, which profile of selected owner companies and identify those that have extended stay, identify which hotels are extended stay, and I need to format my tables for the appendix. So we'll post another video for that, but in the meantime, I hope that this has helped you. And again, if you have questions in your memo, in all of the assignments, go to instructions. You can look here first. I may have answered the question here, or you can simply email me and I will answer the question here and let you know when I've answered it. Thanks a lot and have a great day.